Let's think of a place of worship, a quiet sanctuary dedicated to the Almighty, which stood for nearly 5 centuries, a beautiful symbol of faith and history. Now imagine that same sanctuary being violently erased from existence, not by war or natural disaster, but by a sudden burst of hatred and historical grievance. How can the narrative of one building, the Babri Masjid, embody the complex, difficult story of identity, faith, and the struggle for justice for millions of people across a continent? Why did this mosque become the primary target in a monumental political movement? And what does the final, irreversible loss of this place of worship mean for the future of minority rights and communal harmony in the world's largest democracy? And here is the open loop we will explore. How does a community preserve its historical and spiritual legacy when the physical structures of its past are lost? And what principles of resilience and faith must guide the rebuilding of trust in a shared future? Hello and welcome to the channel. This easy-to-follow, deep-dive story about the Babri Masjid, presented with sensitivity and focus on the community's perspective, will not only give you a clearer understanding of the profound emotional and political dimensions of this historic event, making your appreciation of history and minority issues much stronger, but its clear, simple English narration will also be an extremely valuable tool if you are learning, practicing, or improving your English language skills. Our detailed, extensive journey to understand a landmark civil dispute and its consequences is about to begin. The history of the Babri Masjid began with its construction around 1528 in Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh by Mir Baqi, a respected commander of the first Mughal emperor Babur. The mosque was built according to Islamic principles, designed for the sole purpose of worship and dedicated to Allah as the beauty. For nearly 450 years, it stood as a functioning masjid, a vital part of the spiritual and communal life of the local Muslim residents of Ayodhya, symbolizing the long-standing Muslim cultural and architectural presence in the region. The controversy surrounding the site is built primarily upon a persistent and powerful mythological claim by the Hindu community that the mosque was constructed on the exact birthplace, Janambhumi, of Lord Ram, alleging that an ancient temple was destroyed to make way for the mosque. While the legal and archaeological findings regarding the existence of a prior structure are complex and have been debated fiercely, from the Muslim perspective, the Babri Masjid was first and foremost a legally built, dedicated place of worship that had been used continuously as a mosque for centuries, a fact that should have carried the highest legal protection. The first recorded tensions began during the British colonial period in the mid-19th century. The British, recognizing the escalating communal claims, built a railing and a boundary wall in 1859, physically dividing the inner court for Muslim prayer and the outer court used by Hindus, thereby formalizing the disputed nature of the sacred space and setting a dangerous precedent for the future. The dispute took a catastrophic turn in 1949, shortly after India's independence, when idols of Ram Lalla, infant Ram, were secretly and illegally placed inside the mosque's central dome. This action effectively desecrated the mosque and forced the state government to lock the building, declaring the site disputed and effectively ending the right of Muslims to offer namaz prayer there, which was the first major step towards the site's ultimate loss. The political importance of the site dramatically intensified during the 1980s when various Hindu nationalist organizations launched a massive national movement explicitly demanding the mosque's demolition and the construction of a Ram temple. This aggressive campaign successfully transformed a property dispute into a volatile national issue centered on identity, religious dominance, and historical vengeance, openly challenging the secular fabric of the Indian state. The most painful and destructive event occurred on December 6, 1992,
when a vast crowd of activists violently and illegally tore down the standing Babri Masjid. This act was seen by the Muslim community not merely as the destruction of a building, but as a profound violation of the rule of law, a deliberate attack on their religious rights, and a betrayal of the Indian Constitution's promise of protection for all citizens. The ensuing nationwide riots led to widespread violence and the tragic loss of thousands of lives, solidifying the day as a dark mark on the nation's communal history. For decades following the demolition, the legal case over the title of the land continued in the Indian courts, with the central question remaining: who owned the land? The Muslim parties consistently argued that the destruction of a place of worship did not invalidate their legal ownership of the property, waqf, which they had held for centuries. The Supreme Court of India, in its final, complex and controversial verdict on November 9, 2019, ultimately ruled that the entire disputed land parcel should be handed over to a trust for the construction of the Ram Mandir. The court's judgment, while acknowledging the illegality and criminality of the 1992 demolition, chose to grant the land based primarily on historical evidence suggesting continuous Hindu worship and archaeological findings, effectively prioritizing faith and history over legal precedent regarding the protection of places of worship. As a form of compensatory measure, the court mandated that a separate, suitable 5-acre plot of land be allocated to the Muslim parties for the construction of a new mosque. Today, the construction of the Grand Ram Mandir on the former mosque site is complete and highly visible, representing the success of a major political and religious movement. Meanwhile, the Muslim community, accepting the judicial process despite the painful nature of the verdict and the loss of the historical structure, is moving forward with the plan to build the Muhammad bin Abdullah Masjid on the compensatory land, approximately 25 kilometers away from the original site. This new construction, which will be much larger and include a hospital and community center, represents a necessary shift, moving away from historical grievances toward future-oriented development and community service. The entire history of the Babri Masjid conflict, its long lifespan, its explosive demolition, the failure of political leadership to protect it, and the final complex judicial resolution ultimately serves as a crucial case study on the fragility of minority rights in post-colonial nations and underscores the persistent, difficult challenges of achieving genuine justice and communal harmony in a deeply religious, diverse democracy. This complex saga teaches us that the true measure of a society is not just how it resolves its conflicts, but how it treats the history and dignity of places of worship of all its communities. Thank you for exploring this profound and vital subject with me, which highlights the critical intersection of faith, law, and history. If you found these complex and defining lessons helpful for understanding the world's most populous nation, please be sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dive stories and insights, and leave your thoughts and reflections on the future of minority heritage in the comment section below. Your engagement helps this community grow and continue to explore these challenging, defining moments that shape our lives.